Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Valsa Williams with the midday news. The headlines. President Ram Nath Kovind calls for strengthening human rights at the ground level, says it is a collective task of society. Home Minister Amit Shah reiterates situation in Jammu and Kashmir is fully normal. Campaigning for third phase of assembly elections in Jharkhand draws to a close today, polling in 17 assembly constituencies on Thursday. In Chile, a military plane carrying 38 persons goes missing en route to Antarctica. And 13th South Asian Games in Nepal conclude today. President Ram Nath Kovind today said effective strengthening of human rights at the ground level is a collective task of society. Speaking at a function in New Delhi on the occasion of Human Rights Day, Mr. Kovind said incidents of crime against women have been reported from many parts of the country recently. He said such incidents force people to think whether society has lived up to its vision of equal rights. He said the ideal way to commemorate the day is for the whole world to introspect what more is to be done to uphold the rights enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
In many parts of the world, human rights of those who are vulnerable flagrantly violated. Thus, the ideal way to commemorate the World Human Rights Day is for the whole world to introspect what more we need to do to live up to the letter and spirit of the sacred text of the Declaration.
The President said people should not ignore their duties either. He added that Mahatma Gandhi saw rights and duties as two sides of the same coin. He said India's national discourse has rightly focused on human rights and it can make space for duties as well. The President hailed the National Human Rights Commission NHRC's role in spreading awareness about human rights. He said the NHRC is ever vigilant and the fact that almost all recommendations made by the NHRC are accepted by the government is indicative of its credibility. He said since its inception the NHRC has provided relief to thousands and set wrongdoings right. A report.
The World Human Rights Day is celebrated on the 10th of December every year to commemorate the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was adopted and proclaimed by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1948 as the shared standard yardstick to protect human rights across the globe. The theme for Human Rights Day this year is Youth Standing Up for Human Rights. In his message, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that this year's theme is in celebration of the role young people play in bringing human rights to the fore. He called on everyone to support and protect young people who are standing up for human rights. With Suparna Saikia's report, this is Diksha Saxena for AIR News.
Home Minister Amit Shah today reiterated that the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is fully normal, adding that political leaders will be released when the local administration thinks it is the right time to do so. He said there is no interference from the centre on the issue of keeping the leaders in detention. He was replying to supplementaries during question hour in the Lok Sabha.
जम्मू कश्मीर की जनता और विशेषकर घाटी की जनता है पूरी तरह से स्थिति नॉर्मल है। 99.5% बच्चों ने एग्जाम दिया है। सिर्फ श्रीनगर में 7 लाख से ज्यादा ओपीडी के पेशेंट आए। सारे थानों में से कर्फ्यू हटा लिया, सारे थानों में से 144 हटा दी गई। पुलिस फायरिंग से एक भी मृत्यु नहीं हुई। ट्रैफिक की आवाजाही ठीक ढंग से हो रही है। सारे पंचायत के चुनाव नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार की पहली टर्म में।
The minister took a dig at the Congress for questioning the government over the situation in the region. Replying to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of Congress, Mr. Shah said the main opposition party had predicted bloodshed after abrogation of Article 370, but nothing of that sort happened. The House witnessed heated arguments between Mr. Shah and the Congress leader over the issue. The Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 was passed by the Lok Sabha last night, with 311 members voting in its favour and 80 members opposing the legislation. It seeks to grant citizenship to Hindus, Jains, Parsis, Buddhists and Christians who migrated to India till the end of 2014 from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan because of religious persecution. Replying to the discussion on the bill, Home Minister Amit Shah said it does not violate any provisions of the Constitution, including Article 14, according to which all people are equal before the law. He said the bill is not at all discriminatory against Muslims. Opposing the legislation, Manish Tiwari of the Congress dubbed it as a monumental blunder violating Article 14 of the Constitution. Dayanidhi Maran of the DMK asked as to why Sri Lankan Tamils are excluded from the purview of the bill. Venkatesan of the CPIM said the bill is against the basic framework of the Constitution. Subbarayan of the CPI said the bill discriminates on the basis of religion. Abhishek Banerjee of Trinamool Congress said religious or cultural identities cannot be a factor in deciding on citizenship. The left parties protested against the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 in front of Mahatma Gandhi's statue in Parliament complex today. They were demanding that discrimination on the basis of religion be stopped. CPIM leader P.R. Natarajan told media that their party will take the matter to the people of the country. In Assam, normal life remains affected due to a bandh called by Northeast Students' Organization against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. Educational institutions and business establishments are closed and vehicles are off the roads because of the bandh. Train movement is also affected as protesters blocked rail tracks at a few places. Members from the Trinamool Congress staged a walkout from the Rajya Sabha today over the role of the governor in West Bengal and other issues. During the question hour, party MP Derek O'Brien tried to raise the issue, but Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu did not allow it. Following this, the TMC members trooped into the well, raising slogans. Later, they staged a walkout. The government today clarified that RBI had concerns only over the platform of electoral bonds, but when the SBI was selected for the purpose, no objection was raised by the central bank. Replying to supplementaries during question hour in the Rajya Sabha, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said wider consultations were held with the RBI over the issuing of electoral bonds. She said even the government cannot access information related to the donor and it can only be disclosed on the court's orders. In a recent media report, it was claimed that the Reserve Bank had warned the government on the perils of electoral bonds and its effect on the country's currency. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, visit our News on AIR app and follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. You can also visit our website www.newsonair.com. Campaigning for the third phase of assembly elections in Jharkhand draws to a close today. 17 assembly constituencies in over 8 districts will go to polls in this phase on Thursday. The districts going to polls in this phase are Ranchi, Hazaribagh, Giridih, Bokaro, Chatra, Ramgarh, Saraikela, Kharsawa and Koderma. Due to security reasons, campaigning in 12 assembly constituencies would close at 3 p.m. In the remaining 5 assembly seats, namely Ranchi, Hatia, Kanke, Ramgarh and Barkatha, campaigning will end at 5 p.m. On the last day of campaigning, leaders of all political parties are making last-ditch efforts seeking votes for their candidates. In this phase, 309 candidates, including 32 women, are in the fray. All Jharkhand Students' Union, AJSU, Chief Sudesh Mahato, Jharkhand Vikas Morcha President Babulal Marandi, State Education Minister Neera Yadav, former State Minister and Trade Union Leader Rajendra Prasad Singh are prominent leaders whose electoral fortune will be decided in this phase. More from our correspondent.
The Ranchi Assembly seat is witnessing interesting and multi-corner contest this time. BJP nominee, 5 times MLA and a State Urban Development Minister, CP Singh is being challenged by candidates of major national and regional parties. Congress and JMM Alliance has fielded former chairperson of State Women Commission and literarian Mahua Maji against him. Major political parties like JVM, AJSU, JDU, BSP, Trinamool Congress, Aam Aadmi Party and LJP have fielded their candidates. Over 3,46,000 voters will decide political fate of 12 candidates from this urban seat of the state capital. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Ranchi.
In Chile, a military plane with 38 people aboard disappeared yesterday after taking off from the south of the country for a base in Antarctica. There were 17 crew members and 21 passengers on board. The Chilean Air Force, in a statement issued in Santiago, said a C-130 Hercules aircraft took off at 4:53 p.m. from the southern city of Punta Arenas, which is more than 3,000 kilometers from Santiago. Contact was lost at 6:13 p.m. The Air Force said nothing has been heard from the flight in more than 7 hours. They were not optimistic about the aircraft's fate, as briefed by the authorities in Santiago. The Air Force continues the search in the sector where communication with the aircraft was lost in order to rescue potential survivors. The Sri Lankan government is working on a plan to provide increased training opportunities for its government officials at Indian institutions. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has said more training opportunities will be offered to government officials, and this matter was discussed during his recent visit to India. This was stated during the swearing-in of new state secretaries at a function in Colombo last evening. George J. Laura, the engineer behind the barcode, has died. He was 94. His invention of the Universal Product Code at IBM transformed retail and other industries around the world. He died on Thursday at his home in Wendell, North Carolina in the U.S. His funeral was held yesterday. George was an electrical engineer with IBM in North Carolina's Research Triangle Park in the early 1970s when he spearheaded the development of the UPC or barcode. The now ubiquitous marking, composed of unique black bars and a 12-digit number, allows retailers to identify products and their prices as they are scanned, usually at checkout. Back home in Jammu and Kashmir, the Met Department has predicted a fresh spell of rain and snowfall in the Kashmir Valley from today till the weekend. It said a fresh western disturbance is most likely to affect Kashmir and Ladakh from tonight till Saturday afternoon. The forecast says light rain or snow would start at a few places in Kashmir tonight and thereafter will increase in intensity and distribution. A report from our Srinagar correspondent.
Traffic officials said Srinagar-Jammu National Highway connecting Kashmir Valley with the rest of the world is open for one-way traffic. They said both light and heavy motor vehicles are plying from Srinagar towards Jammu today. For the last 5 days, the air traffic is disrupted from Srinagar Airport due to dense foggy conditions. Director Airports Authority told AIR that all inbound and outbound flights from Srinagar were cancelled today. Divisional Administration Kashmir announced a 2.5-month winter vacations for all government educational institutions and recognizes private schools of the higher secondary level functioning in the Kashmir Division and winter zone areas of Jammu Division from today till 22nd February next year. Tariq Rathar, AIR News, Srinagar.
The 13th South Asian Games in Nepal will conclude this evening. Indian women's squash team won gold, defeating Pakistan 2-1 in the final today. Indian boxers have won 4 golds so far today. In basketball, after clinching gold in 3x3 men's and women's events yesterday, India will play in the finals of team events of both the categories today. In the men's final, India will take on Sri Lanka, while women's team will have a title clash with host Nepal. India is way ahead of other teams in the tally with 299 medals overall, including 164 gold, 91 silver and 44 bronze. Our correspondent reports that the closing ceremony will be held in the evening at Dashrath Rangashala in Kathmandu today. Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal, Ishwar Pokhrel, will be the chief guest. On this occasion, a large number of other dignitaries will also witness the closing ceremony of the biggest sports extravaganza of South Asia. Domestic stocks today logged marginal losses in afternoon trade amid negative cues from global equity markets. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange declined 153 points to 40,334. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange also fell 49 points to trade at 11,888. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. President Ram Nath Kovind calls for strengthening human rights at the ground level, says it is a collective task of society. Home Minister Amit Shah reiterates situation in Jammu and Kashmir is fully normal. Campaigning for third phase of assembly elections in Jharkhand draws to a close today, polling in 17 assembly constituencies on Thursday. In Chile, a military plane carrying 38 persons goes missing en route to Antarctica. And 13 South Asian Games in Nepal conclude today. For details of these stories and more, visit News on AIR app and log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the midday news.